Buying a new laptop can be rather overwhelming. It is an expensive product that you're buying, and seeing all the specification lists on a website filled with numbers and letters, it can just be pretty frustrating. What is going on, guys? I am Lo-Fi. I have been selling tech for about 4 years now, and these are 5 tips that I give to all of my customers in regards to buying a new laptop. Now, do pay in mind that these tips only apply to Windows laptops, so if this video does help you at all, please do leave a like and consider a subscription to the channel. And with that, let's get started. This is the most common misconception that I've seen in all my years of selling laptops. It is not just the gaming versus everything else. There are a lot of situations where a gaming laptop will be the best option for you even if you don't game. The better way to think about it is if you do anything graphical at all, then a gaming laptop is probably your best bet. That or a much more expensive Ultrabook. Why? Because gaming laptops have this thing called a dedicated GPU. That means that they have a part in them which is completely dedicated to doing graphical stuff. Normal laptops have something called an integrated GPU, so you don't have a specific part, you just have a little chip in the processor for it. The integrated GPUs rarely, if ever, are able to handle any actual graphical work that you can do. They will handle the basic visuals that your laptop needs to run, but they will not handle graphical work. So what you want to think about is if you're doing graphical or editorial stuff or anything 3D, then you most likely want to get a gaming laptop that has a dedicated GPU. Now, what level of GPU? That just depends on you and your needs. The second tip is to pay attention to the most important part of the computer. The processor, or CPU, is essentially the brain of the whole laptop. Its power will affect anything and everything that you'll be able to do on the laptop. I don't know if you can hear that. There's construction going on outside. It's driving me insane. So here is the rule of thumb, what processor goes for what work. First of all, you have the Intel Pentium or AMD Athlon. These will handle pretty much anything for just very basic use. So single tab browsing and reading the news online, paying your bills, and possibly playing Minesweeper. That's about it. Nothing more than that. If you do anything more than that, even if you only do like text editing and stuff like that, in that case, you're probably getting it for work or school. In that case, go for an Intel i3 or Ryzen 3. These are your 2 options. Those texts at the i series or the Ryzen series or higher. The i5 and the Ryzen 5, they're just more efficient versions of the same thing, which will give you more power. And if you're really pushing your laptop, then an i7 or a Ryzen 7 is what I would recommend. This is for the programmers and people like that, but I don't think you guys need me to tell you that. If you are going for graphical work or gaming, I do recommend going for an i5 or a Ryzen 5 or higher, just to keep that machine relevant for a lot longer than an i3 or Ryzen 3. The third really important part is the memory. Now, I'm talking about memory, not storage. These are often confused with each other. So storage is where you have your files and your photos. Memory is not that. Memory is referred to as RAM, and it's measured in gigabytes. Basically, RAM is like a waiter in a restaurant. The more RAM you have, the more waiters you have, and the more orders and processes it can process and deliver at once. So this has the easiest rule of thumb. If you do anything that has anything to do with graphics, go for 16 gigabytes or higher. If you're not doing anything graphical and you're sure about it, go for 8 gigabytes or higher. Do not go lower than 8 gigabytes. There are 4 gigabyte machines out there. Don't touch them. you will run out of RAM. That will mean that the stuff that you're trying to do will slow down. It will not be a pleasant experience. And nothing sucks more than buying a new laptop and hating it because it's slow. Now this is the one that defines how much space you have for your files and your photos and such. Don't sell yourself short on this one. The lowest you should ever go is 128 gigabytes. But even that is a bit sketchy, because the updates from Windows and your own files will eat that up really quickly. And if you fill your storage space completely, that can have a significant impact on the speed of your machine. That's why the lowest I'd recommend you ever go is 256 gigabytes. And you want to make sure that the storage space has SSD or M.2 written somewhere on there. Now, fulfilling the specs that I laid out in the previous 4 tips can and will usually lead to the situation where you're over budget, or a budget that you weren't necessarily prepared for. So my top recommendation actually applies already when you're planning a budget for a laptop. Take whatever you're prepared to pay and add a third to it, and just deal with the fact that is the realistic number. If it's lower than that, then that's good. Now, yes, I'm aware that is not feasible to everyone. It wasn't feasible to me either. So there is an alternative option, and that is go unused. But I can't really recommend buying used from an individual, because if you're not too versed in the technology side, then you run the risk of getting scammed. And since that is an option, that is a possibility, that's why I can't just straight up recommend it. Instead, what I would recommend is to look at shops that sell refurbished company or corporate or business laptops. You can usually find them in all price ranges, and while not the prettiest things, they're usually extremely functional. Now keep in mind that the hardware in these laptops can be a little bit older. So a i5 processor that is a few generations older than the current ones is gonna have significantly less performance than the newer ones, but it's most likely still going to be enough for your basic usage. And there we go. These 5 tips should get you a laptop that meets your needs. Of course, these are not the only things you should consider when buying a laptop, but this is a good base to build on. And also keep in mind that this is a radical generalization, because there are as many use cases as there are people buying laptops. But they're a good rule of thumb. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. Hope this helped. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.